And last but not least, you will talk about A Quiet Place Day
Sure.
One. I did
Sure.
not get around to watching it in theaters yesterday because, of this whole hurricane business and
Right.
will we get rain, will we not get rain? So like, you know what, I'm gonna take the risk of going through the rain to see this movie and then I possibly get sick, being in a AC filled room with wet
Right.
clothes on, right? That kind of shit, right? But yeah, surprise, surprise, we have covered the first two Quiet Places on this show
Right.
here, right? When the first one came out in 2018, I believe it was.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah. Good.
what, we enjoyed it back then. I'll never forget the experience I had watching this, right? Because I didn't. All right, so I just sort of I had a skeletal idea of what the show is about, right? But I went in fairly blind, right?
Yeah.
And I actually bought a Subway prior to watching the film and snuck it in. So I did not know that the main gimmick of the movie was about silence and being quiet. So imagine a boy in the dark, in the back in the back of the cinema, not trying to get make out with the Subway in my hand. It was kind of funny, right? But yeah, outside of that though, it made for, well, the show itself was a pretty intriguing
Yeah.
horror premise, right? The whole idea of stay quiet. If you don't, these sound sensitive aliens will basically gang up on you and kill you, right? So it's that,
Right.
right? It's just this whole idea of, okay, don't make any sudden moves or else this thing will grab at you, right? It worked. It's a tried and true formula, but it works here, right? For me, the takeaway though is just seeing John Krasinski though, do
Right.
his thing, right? And this is like his creation, right?
Yeah. You did the first
Yeah,
one, right?
he actually directed the first two films. Like what? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, John Krasinski, did his thing. Like the man clearly showed that he knows a thing or two about horrors, right? And he gets a wife, it'll be Emily Blunt. I mean, again, this man is married to Emily Blunt. I mean,
Good.
wow. That's what I say. Just wow, you are lucky, Dred. You are really lucky, right? Yeah, you get your wife to show up in it, and they do the damn thing, right? So can't be mad at the first one, right? The second one, unfortunately, came out when everybody was home. This was one of the releases that we were waiting for theatrically, just as the world shut down because of the first set of lockdowns. Yeah, this was one of the first releases that came out digital, or I should say, come out online, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, we had to watch it in my house, and it's just the equivalent of what It's just the difference between watching a horror film in a theater, dark theater, audience who just react to things and have fun reacting to things, and you hear the sound loud and clear. Compare that to watching it in your house with your TV, because it plug in via HDMI cable to my laptop, and I have a soundbar, and I'm trying to capture that feeling, and I'm not getting that feeling. You know what I mean? So it's that difference, right? What I will give credit to Quiet Place Part 2 for was just giving us a really spectacular opening sequence, as showing us this big attack with the aliens and whatnot, right?
Right. That was,
This
yeah.
is not day
You know the
one,
second
right?
one. Yeah. Yeah.
You will tell me if this moment was in D1, right? Because from how the setup of the opening of part two was, I assume yes. If, from what I remember, I haven't seen this film in a while. I believe this was actually in D1 as well, right? Because yeah, it was a meteor. It was like these aliens show up,
I
attack,
know. Yeah.
chaos, all that kind of stuff, right? So it's that, right? So I'm assuming D1 was set up in part two, right? But anyway, where they took the story was interesting for what it was though, but admittedly I felt it was a little step down from before. I think it's because, yeah, John, well, the character he was playing, yeah, he
Right.
got
Yeah.
killed in the first one. So this one was
Right.
more about Emily Blunt and her kids now trying to survive. I was like, well, all right, okay. But it didn't rope me in as much as all that, though. And where they took the characters and whatnot was interesting in a sort of post apocalyptic kind of way, but it just didn't really leave any impact for me compared to the first one, right? But at the same time, I wasn't completely blown away by the first one neither, right? Like, just concept wise, it was interesting, but it was just more of a survival thing more than anything else, and who could survive or whatnot, right? Still to this day, how the youngest kid, the boy, dies is
Right. Right.
like just one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in a horror film. I know you probably lost your shit when you saw that. It's
No,
just
I mean,
we're going back
kinda.
to what we said about with Civil War. It's like in shows like this, right?
Yeah.
You usually expect that the characters will not do anything stupid. And plus, John, right, the father of the kid, tells the boy, leave the toy.
It's not even like
Boy
it's not even like you.
puts
It's
on the
more dumb
toy.
in more dumb in the sense that you trust the boy at all to do that. It's like no, like how you get her out here the thing without watching him now, whatever. Well,
Yeah, but
it's, you don't
I
fight me.
don't know. I guess you will be readjusted because I know you have a particular issue with this franchise, right? It's like
Well, yeah,
you
it's not a
already
big problem, but
know.
it's like whatever.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
It's that you already know. You know because this is years, about a year or so since the aliens attack, right? And your parents warned you. They told you what not to do, and yet you pull that toy out and you put it on. Why would you do that? Of
right.
course, they get killed. You know what I mean? So yeah, while that is a memorable moment for many people, I was just like, no, that kid was stupid.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's for shock value. Whatever. Moving on.
stop it now. You know what I mean? Whatever. But it is what it is, right? But yeah, so unfortunately, I didn't get to see D1 in theaters. Because for me,
Sure.
just seeing those trailers, I was like, all right, out of all these movies, this one looks like the one that I need to see on big screen, right? Well, two reasons. One, because I saw part two in my house and it kind of sucked watching at home. But secondly, because it was D1 again, and you're seeing more aliens, more sound design, more destruction. You know what I mean? Is more of the experience of the attack and the terror involved there. You know what I mean? Something like that you have to see on big screen. Not just I guess in my case, wait until you see until it come out online, right? But yeah, Ricardo, you saw it. But before you get into what Day One was about, yeah, your history with the first two movies and what you thought about them and the problem you have with the franchise.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that it's fine. The world building of it is my question is that how this thing end the world, these creatures. I mean, how many of them it have to have? They have unusual weaknesses, so that's why I don't understand why you could nitpick like how to handle them because they're basically really fast like bears. And they're really similar to like people mentioned the Gorgon from Stranger Things. But I always just
Uh-huh.
think of, oh no, they're just kind of xenomorphs, but kind of lamer than xenomorphs, kind of, right? They rely on sound and they can't really do much because we see a bunch of things they can't do at the limits. For the sake of the story, we don't know if that's a thing or not. But yeah, moving on, and they seem relatively weak because a single shotgun took out one of them, but it was a
Oh
shotgun in
yeah.
their face when the
Mm.
weird air face thing open. It don't bother me. The first one is still the best in the franchise. It just really had a great conceit. They lean on this conceit. This third film actually is really smart by not trying to copy that in any like super way. It's all about the song and song design and having to work around this creature, and they do that with the first one. Second one I think is an okay sequel, not memorable but still fine. And this third one is serviceable, but I would also say not super memorable either. But it's fine.
Wow. Yeah.
Um,
But
yeah,
what is the one about?
sure. Yeah. So what they do with this one is they make it a really more of a character piece. So it follows Sam or Samira, I think, or Samira. She's a cancer patient. She dying slowly, and she kind of just a little ornery and just kind of depressed and about um life itself because she dying slowly. Effectively, right? Terminally ill, and just it's all about she and her relationship with a care worker and how they does work with this hospice. What happens is that they decide to go in the city to get some pizza because she wanted us living out. She just kind of does counting her days and living out her life. To go in the city and they go. She want to go to get some pizza, but they go to this like a puppet show or something like that. There's a bunch of people that are just taking care of them, effectively running through her life in her apartment in Manhattan. Is all of that, right? No, she's in Harlem. I think her apartment is in Harlem, but they went to a puppet show in Manhattan. And yeah, this is when the aliens come down. They come down in a big they like the asteroids, and it cause all this chaos, and then these creatures running about and so on, and they just killing people who make sound. And what it focuses on is just her. Well, because she kind of done, and what happens that the government effectively like lock off Manhattan, so they bomb all the bridges. They can't leave. I think you see that in the trailer. Uh it's that, right? It's just this character piece of her saying, well, look, it's the end of the world, but I'm not going to live through this end of the world thing anyway, so I might as well just say fuck it and get my pizza anyway. And yeah, that's what it is. Like, they focus on that, and it's like a surprisingly solid, like, character piece, because it make logical sense. Like, she's not trying to do everything to survive or anything like that. Like, they kind of invert the conceit in that sense. She have a cat, Pet cat, the pet cat is unusually calm throughout all of this. That is like the only thing that's kind of take you out it, because like
Right.
this cat should like not be panicking constantly because of all this noise and chaos. But no, apparently the cat real chill out. This is like a super chill cat, right? But yeah, that is about it. Yeah, she meets a bunch of other people in the puppet show, from the puppet show who saved her life. And he kind of established to not make song. It's extra funny that Jaiman Honsu is in this. And it's like, yeah, Jaiman Honsu is like one of the loudest motherfuckers ever. But
I know,
uh,
right?
right,
Also,
yeah,
fun
but
fact, I forgot this. He was in part two. He made an appearance in
right.
part
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. Right. So yeah. So he's in this. They make a whole thing with him. Uh, you know, they have to survive, and they survivors, and they have to kind of get together and be quiet, but how to handle the situation. What's the guy's name by Alex Wolf? He was in he was a demon, and they keep dead in the end, and he get a neck break with the daughter with the sister who breaks she, and she always clucking she clucking she tongue.
Hereditary.
Hereditary,
Hereditary.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hereditary. Right. Yeah, he's in this. He's okay. Joseph Quinn, I think he in Stranger Things. He was in this too. And
Mm.
yeah, it's just them surviving. She gets separated from the group, and what she goes back to her apartment, and then they eventually the pizza place is, well, I don't want to spoil what happened to the pizza place, but she gets eventually they get what they have to do, and then they have to they work out a plan to basically escape the island. Well, escape Manhattan, because they have no bridges, but they have like boats, and they had to get that whole thing. And it's fine, right? It more works, as I said, it more works as a character piece. I really don't give a shit about these aliens. These aliens not interesting. They're too derivative from it to care. They're too much like xenomorphs. Um, yeah, so I don't really care. The whole hearing thing, like as I said, the big problem is that these aliens, they have too many weaknesses for them to take over the world, or for the world to crash because of them. That's my problem with this, right? I feel like the military could have easily like cook these fucking things, but apparently unless they literally like it's hundreds of thousands of them or millions of them across the planet, then fine. But it don't seem to be that many, because the first one was just like one, and in the sequel it was like a few, but it was like they constantly like flooded over the place. In the
But
storyline, there
that
does.
was always my assumption, especially seeing the trailer for this. I thought like there's like a multitude of these aliens now, so there was no
Well, it's
escape.
a lot of them, but they're not hundreds. In this storyline, it's more like a few dozen. Like like in the final sequence,
Okay.
it's like about, I don't know, about 10 of them, which is still a lot. But given what I know the American military could do, they should fucking cook these things. However, it's just me being like, normal real world nitpicky bullshit. As I don't know, as horror monsters, because they're so derivative, I can't really get into them. Again, it's so they just really feel like bargain bin discount xenomorphs, so I really can't get it, but they have some decent moments with them. Lupita is pretty good. She actually holds it together. It's a surprisingly like decent three-dimensional character she's playing. It's a great character. It's a really solid script. For her, she holds it. I'm not sure how big of a star she is in terms of like to pull people, or how much money this gonna make. I have no idea. But I just thought it was just a good, like, as a character piece it works, and it's very artsy. Like they clearly pull a lot of like aesthetics from like 9/11 stuff. So like have a whole scene with just a bunch of ash on her face. That makes sense, because that's you're pulling from 9/11, but it doesn't feel like grotesque or exploitative like what Zack Snyder did or anything like that, right? It's just they pull the horror from the terror of the scenes. They're not super terrifying, but like they're just good. They're just like, okay, this is competent, fine. The only thing, as I say, is that cat. Like the cat just unusually normal. Like should that cat be scraping you up to escape you, or whatever it is, on run shooting way, whatever. The cat's super loyal, and it's movie world, so it's fine. The final sequence of what has to happen, or what the main conceit does, involving the guy she meets. What's the guy's name? Eric or something like that. Is a lawyer. He's a lawyer who's like going for a job, or he gets his first job, and then like all this bullshit happen on his day to get a job. I think. I think it's that effectively. His arc and what goes on with him is not bad. And yeah, where they reveals where they went with it in terms of the ending is fine. Like it's fine. It's standard. It's pretty standard stuff. I can't in good conscience. It's a little rote, right? Not super predictable, but it's very rote. But why it works is because Lupita has, as usual, great screen presence, and like seen on camera. And then she has, I think, I really like the character. Like I could see why she would have picked up a script like this. Because it don't feel like a waste of your time, or it don't feel like just a kind of like for the most part half-assed or anything like that. I think John Krasinski wrote it again, so it's one of those worlds that you could just build on, and I could see just doing random stories on and doing it, and it more boils down to the character material rather than the world building. I don't really care about these aliens, because the aliens, they're not interesting, nor are they that scary, to be honest. But they work in the context of the world for the most part. But I can't say I was truly horrified. It just mostly work as just a solid character piece and a good vehicle for Lupita, and that's the strength of it. That's where it holds on as it is. Rating, yeah, I can't go as far as saying I'm going to completely forget this or anything like that. I wasn't super thinking about it after. It's good. I'll mention it. It's worth your time. But I doubt it'll even get like an honorable mention at the end of the year. It's a film. It's fine. And it just in and out. Rating, yeah, I'll get it like a 6 out of 10, probably like a 7 if anything, because of just the solid character material it does. Like, it's just a good script for a character. Like, the main character is a good character you followed from start to end, and what happened with her, that works. All of that works, and that's why it's thing. But you're not really roped into the world or anything like that. It's just another character beat story. This kind of like I think the show this look, I hate how we talking about like series or anything like that, but this could have easily been like a single episode of like a show, and you could have cut it down and make it work, and it didn't just as fine as a character piece as it is. It's all media, is all one anyway. So moving on from that, yeah, rating 6 out of 10. I don't super love it, but it's fine. It was totally serviceable a film, and yeah, I recommend it, but I'm not sure if you should go to theaters for it. I know, I personally, I would wait in thing, but it's not like I completely regret getting out of my house to go and see it. Well, moving on.
All right, I got you.